Hello everyone. This week's lesson is going to be a banjo lesson, and it's about playing solos in any key on the banjo. And as an example, I'm going to use the tune Blue Ridge Cabin Home. It's a very simple vocal tune. It's a very simple melody. We're going to play it in the key of G. We're going to explore where the melody notes are in the key of G. And we're going to think about the chords. It's a G, C, and D song, so it plays the 1 chord, the 4 chord, and the 5 chord. And then we're going to transpose it into the key of C and into the key of D. And what we're going to find is that if you do this, you learn a lot about playing your instrument. You learn a lot about where the melody notes are to be found in different spots on the instrument. It's a great practice. It's a great tool to learn. And it's also really useful and helpful if you're ever playing with a vocalist who needs to sing in a different key. So Blue Ridge Cabin Home, I would probably sing it in the key of G or the key of A. The Bluegrass Album Band recorded it in the key of B flat. But what if you've got a female vocalist and she wants to sing it in the key of E because it fits her range a little more? Being able to play out of a C position and out of a D position is really helpful. Okay, so we're going to talk about all that in the lesson, but let's get started. I'm just going to start by playing Blue Ridge Cabin Home in the key of G. Okay, so that's a basic version of Blue Ridge Cabin Home in the key of G. I'm kind of basing that on J.D. Crow's version with the Bluegrass Album Band. But now let's think about the melody, okay? So first, as I said, let's think of the chords. Blue Ridge Cabin Home, there's 2 measures of G. So that's 2 measures of G, 2 measures of C, and then 2 measures of D. And then it goes back to 2 measures of G, and it repeats. Okay, so now let's think of the melody. It starts do, re, mi. Right? 1, 2, 3. First 3 notes of the scale. So that's G, A, B. There's a well-beaten path. Okay, so we're just going to explore the simple melody, and then we'll think about how we would play rolls with that, and then we're going to do it in the key of C, and then the key of D. So do, re, mi, mi, sol, mi. Okay, so there it is, the basic melody of Blue Ridge Cabin Home in the key of G. All right, now if we were trying to learn a solo for the first time and we knew the melody, we just played around, found the melody, we'd want to include some Scruggs style licks because we're playing bluegrass and we're not just playing the simple melody. We want to play it in that bluegrass idiom. So we want to use that bluegrass vocabulary. So what we might use is some 2-3 slides, right? Hear that? Okay, and so notice we did the 2-3 slide. We can also do a 3-2 pull off coming back down. That's a way of getting that B note, that 3rd note in the scale, down to the A note, the 2nd note in the scale. And then you end up in a C position. And then into a D position. And you can kind of find the melody notes within those positions, okay? And so that's the way you'd go about it in the key of G. And I really do recommend listening to your favorite players play a solo, and that's how you would figure out, how do I want Blue Ridge Cabin Home to sound in the key of G? Well, you're going to listen to J.D. Crow play it or Earl Scruggs play it, listen, and then try to imitate it, okay? But what if you wanted to switch it to the key of C, and your favorite players have never played it in that key, so there's nothing to listen to or to imitate? Okay, and why would you want to do this? Being able to play in the key of C gives you a lot more options. This really allows you to play any solo if you can play in G, C, and D, you can play any solo in any key, all right? Because if with the key of G and a capo, you can play G, you can play in the key of, you can capo up 2 is common in bluegrass, play in the key of A. You can play in B flat. You could also play in B, capoed up 4, right? Sometimes you'll see people capo up 5, very rarely, but sometimes people will capo up 5. It allows them to play out of a G position, which sometimes is the most bluegrassy of the positions. It can feel that way. But another way, once you get up to 5, instead of capoing 5, you could play out of the key of C, down here. And playing out of the key of C, you'd play with C chord, F chord, G chord. Okay? Those are your 1, 4, and 5 chords. Right? And so if you capoed in the key of C, and then you capoed up 2, you'd end up with the key of D. If you capo C up 4, you get the key of E, which is also another common chord. You could also then do key of D, right? So you could fret the 5th string at the 2nd spike here, and you get an A note there. So you can get the key of D, and key of D is going to have D, G, and A are going to be your 1, 4, and 5 chords. D is 1, G is your 4 chord, A is your 5 chord. And if you capo in the key of D up 2, you get the key of E, which is also, you could do the key of, or you could do a C position up 4 and you get the key of E. But you could also do D up, playing the D position up 3, capo 3, and gets you to the key of F, which is actually a really handy and useful thing to be able to do, is to play capoed 3 out of D position, and guitar players can do the same thing. Play out of D position, capoed 3, and then you're in the key of F, which is a little lower than G, right? And might be helpful for you on a certain song. Maybe you're trying to sing it in the key of G and it's just a little too high. Well, maybe try playing capoed 3 out of the key of D, and that's the key of F. Okay, so now we're going to do Blue Ridge Cabin Home in the key of C, and we're going to explore the melody. So again, how did it start? It started 1, 2, 3. The melody was 1, 2, 3, 5, 3, right? So the first note of the scale, C. There's a well. That's a little high for me, right? There's a well-beaten path on this old mountainside. Okay, so it's the same melody, right? 1, 2, 3, 5, 3 is how it starts. The first note of the scale. The second note of the scale. So first note of the scale, C, D, E, and then up to the 5th note of the scale is going to be G. Okay, and so notice how I did that. I started down low in the key of, that C position, and you can do it a few different ways. C, D, E, and there I was playing open D on the first string, or you can play C, D, E, where I'm using my pinky on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, and that's also a D. But then, to get up to the 5th note of the scale, you've got to get up to that G, and the only way you're going to find that is up on the 1st string, right? So you've got to get up there on that 1st string at the 5th fret. And then you go up to G, and then back down to E, or notice that you can hit an E immediately below. Below, it's also on the 5th fret. It's the 2nd string on the 5th fret. And that's a C bar chord. Look at that. Right? We bar, and that gives you a C. If you bar at the 5th fret, that's a C chord. Okay, so one of the things you really want to try to do is think about what chord you're playing, and then find the melody note within that chord position. So we kind of moved up from this C position here, up to this upper C position here. And now we're going to move into the F position. See that? See that F position? Now we're going to move up into the G position. Okay, so what was that? I shifted my hand up to the G position there. It's an F position chord, playing a G chord though. and I've got my middle finger on the 4th fret. That's a B. Then I'm going up to the C, the 5th. This is the middle string, the 3rd string. So B up to C. That's the 5th fret on the 3rd string. And then up to D, right? So B, C, D. And then we're walking down to the 2nd fret. That's an A. Down to an open G. And then we can put our fingers back to the C position. And then we basically do the melody again. And it ends slightly differently as we do that walk down. Okay, so now how would we play that in a Scruggs style roll pattern, right? So I'm just going to play it in the key of C using those same shapes and positions and the melody notes that I found. Okay, and so I ended with a very standard C lick there. That's just kind of a filler that that banjo players might use in the key of C. But I was able to play through using hammer-ons and some slides, but I really didn't leave these positions. I had the C down here, then this C up here, and you might have noticed I did a hammer-on onto that E. Right? And then now I'm back into the F position, and I hammered on with my ring finger onto the 3rd fret, and I did a forward reverse roll there. Now I slid up, and there's another lick. So I got to that open G. Okay, now I'm not going to give you the tablature to play this because the goal isn't to play the break that I just came up with or the solo that I came up with. The idea is for you to create your own solo in any key. And these are the steps, right? You start by finding the simple melody. Think about the shapes, where the chords are, right? So here's the low C, then here's the higher C, okay? Then we've also got the key of F right here. And so we can find our melody notes within that. And then here's the key of G. Okay, and so we work our way through the melody in that fashion. Now that's basically it. That's developing a solo in the key of C. Then you could also put a capo on, play it in the key of D up 2. You could capo up 4, and you could play it in the key of E. Okay, so now I want to show you one other thing before we move, and I show you how to play the same solo or a similar solo in the key of D. What if we were to take that same position in the key of C and move it up the neck and play a G, play it in the key of G as an up the neck solo in the key of G? So watch what happens. I'm going to basically play the same solo. Here it goes. I hit a wrong note at the end there. But you saw what I did was I started in that G position. I started with the G. It's that same position that I used down the neck. Right? My index finger is on the root, and my ring finger is on the 3rd note of the scale. And if you do that up the neck at the 8th and the 9th frets, that's in the key of G, right? There's a G chord. But now just use your index finger on the G at the 8th, on the 2nd string at the 8th fret, and then on the 1st string, your ring finger on the 9th fret. And then if we use our pinky to get that, so we get do, re, mi, mi, so, mi. And that was the same way that we started it out of the key of C, in the key of C positioning. So by learning it in the key of C, you've also helped yourself to be able to play up the neck solos in the key of G. And that's really part of what this lesson is about, is that if you explore playing in G and C and D, you'll find you just become that much more knowledgeable about the banjo and the fretboard and just the instrument, and you know it better, and you'll find it easier to find the melody notes wherever you're at, and to improvise as well. So now let's go to the key of D, okay? Let's play a solo in the key of D. So I'm gonna have to capo, or not capo, but I'm gonna have to tune the 5th string here. Okay, so I've got my 5th string up is now capoed to A. I've got a little spike here at the 7th fret, and it's now tuned to A. So we've got a nice D sound here. Okay, gives you a slightly different feel because you've got that. And why did we have to do that that D tuning? We put the A up there because the A is in the D scale. And that's going to give you that nice sound in the key of D. Okay, so how would we do the solo for Blue Ridge Cabin Home in the key of D? It's actually almost identical, okay? So instead of starting on C, we're just going to shift that up 2 frets, and we're going to start with our index finger on the 2nd string, on the 3rd fret, which is a D note, and then we've got a ring finger on the 4th fret of the 1st string, and we can get our do, re, mi with our pinky. See that? It's the same. So I'm just going to play the D solo. It's almost identical to what I was able to do in the key of C. And I've got a plane going overhead, so let's take a moment. Okay, here we go. Blue Ridge Cabin Home in the key of D. Okay, and that's it. So it was almost an identical solo. Note that in the key of D, you've got the root is D, and then you've got the 4 chord is G, and then your 5 chord is A. And so we were just working out of those positions again. And then we go up to the higher position, the D, the bar chord. Right? There's a well-beaten path on this old mountainside where I wandered when I was a lad. And then I went down to the full D position here. And it allows me to hit that open D, which is really nice. You couldn't do that in the key of C, but you can get that open D note, which is a nice sound. And then I just shifted back. It's that forward reverse roll, and then a slide up to an A chord, right? So I think you can find those melody notes all within those chord positions, and by taking a simple song like Blue Ridge Cabin Home, or it could be Bury Me Beneath the Willow, or Banks of the Ohio, take a song that you know the melody well, and just do it as an exercise, as a practice, to play it in the key of C then, play it in the key of D, and then play around with the capos too, and you can move the capo up a little, and you can say, oh, okay, now I can get, if I've got a vocalist who wants to sing in the key of E, I could do that. I could do it, I could play out of C position up 4, or I could play D position up 2, and find out what you like best. But this is a great exercise. I hope you enjoy it. The idea isn't to play the solos exactly the way I did it. The idea is to play around with it, look for the melodies, and unlock the banjo, unlock the neck, and learn the instrument a little bit better. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Take care.